Hello and welcome back. I am Mama Two Howries. Today's video is going to be about Bot Sentinel, Bouzy, Twitter, and more through examples from my own Bot Sentinel analysis. Now, if you have been on Twitter or you have been on YouTube and you follow like the LawTube type community, or you follow the Depp v. Heard trial, then you probably know who Bouzy is and Bot Sentinel and lawyers that had been covering this. But recently there has been some stuff that has come out about Bouzy, who is the owner of Bot Sentinel, and how Bot Sentinel runs his business. And there seems to be a lot of problems other than the way he's conducting himself on Twitter. So we can see here that this is his analysis from his own website, Bot Sentinel. He is in the normal rating of 0% to 24% at 11%. And of course, the owner of this company, Bot Sentinel, is going to be rated normal, although he does target harassments. So let's jump in and tell me what you think. First step in all this, we are going to look at Twitter and their developer platform. These are the developer terms, more about restricted uses of the Twitter APIs. And Bot Sentinel falls into this API category. Now, if you go into your Twitter account and you go to the settings and to the privacy and security part, you will run across this. And most of us are probably unchecked, like I am here. This one is from my own Twitter account. And by not checking this, you are not giving permission for the sharing of additional information with Twitter's business partners. So, data sharing with business partners, allowing sharing of additional information with Twitter's business partners. Allow additional information sharing with business partners. Twitter always shares information with business partners as a way to run and improve its products. When enabled, this allows Twitter to share additional information with those partners to help support running Twitter business, including making Twitter's marketing activities on other sites and apps more relevant to you. And then it'll have a part where you can learn more if you want to. So, I do not have it checked. Therefore, I do not give permission for Twitter to share my information with business partners. Now, I do not know if Bot Sentinel is a business partner of Twitter. I am not thinking he is. But this might get discovered soon through things that are happening in the background. So check yours, see if it is checked. If it is checked and you do not want your information shared with the business partners, make sure you unclick that button. Have it blank. Distribution of Twitter content. If you need to share Twitter content you obtained via the Twitter APIs with another party, the best way to do so is by sharing tweet IDs, direct message IDs, and or user IDs, which the end user of the content can then rehydrate. Example, request the full tweet, user, or direct message content using the Twitter APIs. This helps ensure that end users of Twitter content always get the most current information directly from us. We permit limited redistribution of hydrated Twitter content via non-automated means. If you choose to share hydrated Twitter content with another party in this way, you may only share up to 50,000 hydrated public tweet objects and or user objects per recipient per day, and should not make this data publicly available, for example, as an attachment to a blog post in a public GitHub repository. So basically it is saying that you cannot share this information publicly or in like blog posts. Well, Bot Sentinel does share it publicly. And so that's a problem, because not only can you go in and look up at yourself, you can go in, if you have anybody's Twitter handle, and get this information. And anybody can do it, and nobody has given permission. So, let's move on. There are a few points to keep in mind about redistribution of Twitter content. You may only distribute up to a total of 1,500,000 tweet IDs to a single entity within a 30-day period unless you have received prior express written permission from Twitter, which Bot Sentinel has not done. And if they have, Twitter has a problem. Individuals redistributing tweet IDs and or user IDs on behalf of an academic institution for the sole purpose of non-commercial research are permitted to redistribute an unlimited number of tweet IDs and or user IDs. To request permission to share Twitter content as outlined above, please use the API policy support form. And it'll have you look at that. Now, it says, to the extent you are permitted to distribute Twitter content to a third party, note that this content remains subject to developer agreement and policy, and you must ensure such third party has agreed to the Twitter terms of service, privacy policy, developer agreement, and developer policy before receiving Twitter content. So, if you are a business partner of Twitter's and you have permission to redistribute these things, or you do it through a third party, the third party also has to agree to the conditions that the partner did. And so that is what they talk about in all this. And so when they talk about hydrate, it means get complete details. Example, field of a tweet. many Twitter API calls that return tweets do not return all the fields. So statuses lookup may be used as a secondary call to get to these. Let's see. Apparently you can stop hydrating and such. There is more on that, and maybe we'll dive into that on another video, because that is something I really haven't heard that term used. So we will dig more into that. And if you know about what rehydrated and hydrated is in Twitter context and API information, let me know in the comments so we can learn more. Measuring the Twitter service. Do not use the Twitter APIs to measure the availability, performance, functionality, or usage of Twitter for benchmarking or competitive purposes. For example, you should never use the Twitter APIs to calculate aggregate Twitter user metrics such as a total number of active users or accounts. Calculated aggregate Twitter tweet metrics such as the total number of tweets posted per day or the number of users' engagements on an account or account engagements. And lastly, measure or analyze spam or security on Twitter except as permitted in the Twitter rules. And it has a link to that. Bot Sentinel has those things. He's got little pie graph charts and everything on it. So I think this is breaking the Twitter rules as well. Surveillance, privacy, and user protection. At Twitter, protecting and defending the privacy of our users is built into the core DNA of our company, and our developer and data products reflect on that commitment. We believe that Twitter data can be a powerful force for good in the world, from saving lives during the flooding in Jakarta to helping the USGS track earthquakes, to work with the UN to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. However, we prohibit the use of Twitter data and the Twitter APIs by any entity for surveillance purposes or in any other way that would be inconsistent with our users' reasonable expectations of privacy. Period. Do not be surveillancing things. That's not your job. And you do not have permission to do that. We describe prohibited uses of our data and developer products in the developer agreement, including prohibitions on investigating or tracking Twitter users or their content, as well as tracking, alerting, or monitoring sensitive events such as protests, rallies, or community organized meetings. His whole website is about tracking and monitoring. So that is prohibited in the developer agreement. Other categories of activities prohibited under these terms include, but are not limited to, investigating or tracking sensitive groups or organizations such as unions or activist groups. Wonder if that includes hate groups that you create. Background checks or any form of extreme vetting, credit or insurance risk analysis, individual profiling or psychographic segmentation, which that is what we have every Twitter user has this individual profiling of our Twitter accounts with information on them. So these are, again, prohibited things that Bot Sentinel does. And do not use facial recognition. These policies apply to all users of our APIs. Any misuse of Twitter APIs for these purposes will be subject to enforcement action, which can include suspension and termination of access. For additional information, for law enforcement authorities seeking information about Twitter accounts, visit, and it has the link. Because sometimes in criminal cases, or even maybe even in civil, social media can be used as evidence, but there is a proper way that you are supposed to go about it so that everybody is doing it the legal way. Off-Twitter matching. Off-Twitter matching involves associating Twitter content, including a Twitter username or user ID, with a person, household, device, browser, or other off-Twitter identifiers. One example would be associating a Twitter username with a business customer records. Example, John Doe in your customer records is matched to John Doe on Twitter. We want people to feel comfortable to create a separate and, if they choose, pseudonymous or pseudonym identity on Twitter if you intend to associate any information about a Twitter user with an off-Twitter identifier. We require that you get express opt-in consent from the user before making the association. For example, you could get this consent if the user shares their Twitter handle directly with you as a part of a sign-up process for your service. We have not signed up for anything that has to do with Bot Sentinel. And I guarantee you, you can go on there and you will find yours. And you will find everybody else's. So, moving on to the next paragraph. In situations in which you do not have the user's express opt-in consent to link their Twitter identity to an off-Twitter identifier, we require that any connection you draw be based only on information that a user would reasonably expect to be used for that purpose. If a user would be surprised to learn that you are using information they provided to link their Twitter account to an identity off of Twitter, don't do it. In addition, absent a person's expressed opt-in consent, you may only attempt to match your records about someone to Twitter identity based on information provided directly to you by the user, records about individuals with whom you have no prior relationship, including data about individuals obtained from third parties, do not meet this standard. So, I do not have a relationship or given expressed opt-in consent for Bot Sentinel to use my information. It was not provided directly by me. And yeah, sure, the Twitter handle thing, not a big deal. But it's the being labeled and analyzed by something that we don't even know how it's analyzed, really and truly, as well as things that are in my posts and everybody's posts that get linked and send you to different places or show some of your life that you don't necessarily give permission. People have the right to stay anonymous if they want to. If a person in their personal life wants to, do whatever on Twitter, but then they also have a business and they don't really want the connection there. Or, like they said, John Doe. Well, let's say John Doe owns a clothing store. But John Doe does not want to go by John Doe on Twitter. He wants to go by something else. Because everybody knows if he was to go by John Doe on Twitter, that everybody would know that he is the John Doe that owns the clothing store. And he wants those things separate. So he creates a different Twitter handle, like Apparel Junkies or something. And so linking these two together, when they do not have permission to link them together, and especially in legal capacities, and you sharing that publicly, is not something that you have permission to do. People have the right to hide their identity on social media platforms. And many people do because they don't necessarily want everything to be connected, or maybe they have strong opinions, or people can dox and they don't want information about their families being found out because somebody linked two and two together and shared that information, and it becomes a horrible thing. And I'm sure you've heard about cases that has happened, and it's not right. But let's move on to the next bold bullet here. Public data. Public data in this context refers to information about a user which you obtain from a public, generally available resource such as a directory of members of a professional association. Information on Twitter about a user which is publicly available, including tweets, profile information, including a user's bio and publicity stated location, display name, and username. So you can figure some of this stuff out, but if none of this is done with permission, and maybe you have your stuff private or limited, and you don't want other people seeing it, maybe only your followers or whoever, and you don't want your real life to be matched to your online life, then we can run into some problems. Now, is there stuff that you can easily find out because of public data? Yes. Does that information need to be spread? No, because it can land in the wrong person's hands and can become very dangerous. Let's move on to another important section. GDPR. GDPR stands for the General Data Protection Regulation, and it came into effect on May 25th of 2018. And it builds upon and modernizes existing EU data protection and privacy rules. It also specifically addresses the export of personal data of EU citizens outside the EU and sets clear guidelines for companies who operate between the EU and other global markets with different legal structures and approaches to data transfer and its commercial use. So in the UK, they have this protection that you need to follow certain guidelines, and if you don't follow them, then you are violating this GDPR. And this covers like all of the EU, which is like the UK and like Europe and stuff like that. Now, the thing is, if you are in the United States, the United States as a whole does not have something like that that protects us. Now, California has probably the most popular widely known protection of data privacy. I think I have seen that Virginia and Colorado do, maybe Utah, and there are others that are looking into it. And pretty much every state has something. I know in Texas there's been some acts and stuff that have been put through, but I think there needs to be, especially in this technology and the way of the world, and more as time goes on, more technology and stuff that's going to be used, and we as citizens and consumer users should feel safe using these things. And so I think eventually there will be something. I don't know if it'll come from like the Supreme Court, or it will just be something that every single state has and it just all matches. I think that it is coming for every state, but usually there is something that you have protection over your data being shared. HIPAA's one in the medical field, and there's some other ones as well. And if your state doesn't have anything like this, write to your Congress and say, we demand these privacy and data protection to be in place so that our stuff isn't being shared without our permission. So definitely look into that. It does have information here if you are in the UK and stuff, and advice for the EU advertisers and their agreement and questions and answers and all of that. You can go there. But definitely check your individual state or country's policies. Most countries have it. The US just does not, for whatever reason. Twitter's approach to privacy and the GDPR. Protecting and defending user privacy is the heart of our work. From protecting users and being anonymous to offer meaningful privacy and security controls, and our overall commitment to transparency. These are foundational principles and built into the core DNA of our company. We also partner with civil society, we stand up to governments, and we continue to evolve our efforts around documenting our work. In preparing for the GDPR, we formed a cross-functional team made up of senior team members from across Twitter to make sure we were not only working towards GDPR compliance as an end in itself, but in a way that involves our principles and overarching mission as a company. While our teams had been working on this behind the scenes, we made updates across our core product, policy, and operations. Our goal as ever has been to meet our commitments to our users and provide an industry-leading level of transparency and user control. So what companies like Bot Sentinel do takes the transparency away. It takes the user control away. And we will get into why and how Bot Sentinel takes these things away. Core focus areas. Product. For EU users, our product will be updated to meet requirements of the GDPR. We will create a bespoke experience that offers increased transparency around what we do with your data and how it is stored by Twitter. Policy. Our privacy policy was updated in line with the GDPR to include changes around data portability, the overarching term of access for EU users, and data and anonymity requirements. We will ensure your privacy continues to be protected. Transparency. In line with our ongoing commitment to transparency, we want this process to be clear for our users. To that end, we will keep you updated, including through in-product prompts, updated blog content, and ensuring our public-facing materials are digestible and fit for purpose. All right, so here is what it is going to look like when you go to Bot Sentinel from your mobile phone. The desktop dashboard looks a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same. And so we have more than just bots, because in the beginning it talked about it was about finding bots and getting rid of bots instead of and exposing, fake accounts and things like that were not real. But they've kind of changed that to where it's now not just about bots, it's about basically human problematic or disruptive content. People that they think are breaking terms of services and things like that. And it's got the analyze the account. That is the button that you will click, and you will type in the user handle, which gives you your little report, like I showed you at the beginning of this for Bouzy's account. It's got the donate button, which is interesting because part of the problem is that he calls out LawTube, and the mainstream media does the same thing, saying, oh, y'all aren't real journalists, y'all don't have ethics and integrity, and y'all ask for money, or, people super chat you in order to support you. And they make a big deal about, oh, grifting and all that. But then we have, it's please donate. They want money. They're grifting. Mainstream media, what do? They're not running stories just for the good. No, it's not like everybody. It's not like CNN and Fox and NBC and all these things are just doing things for free. It's not a volunteer nonprofit. No, they're getting paid. It's about the money. That's why they want you to pay attention to them and the narrative that they're pushing, which isn't always the facts. It has try our APIs and use the technology in your next project. And then it's got press and about their latest research and how they're making a difference. Now, part of what started this whole thing currently going on is the press. And Bot Sentinel has put together these reports. And there are, like, the Washington Post and Rolling Stones are using Bot Sentinel as a credible source. The problem is you don't know how the information is received, how it is analyzed and everything to get to these stats and reports. There has also been some edits, stealth edits, where they don't tell you that there's been edits. There has been some quotes that have been stated that actually aren't quotes. It has, like, part of a sentence, some ellipses, and then it acts like the rest of that sentence after the ellipses is this, and it is just one thought. Such as, let's say if you're a parent, that you're talking on the phone. Let's say you're talking to your boss on the phone, and you are like, yes, I will take that shift, and I can also, and then your kid comes in, or they're being loud, and you're like, y'all need to stop. I'm not kidding, I'm not playing. And then you go back to the conversation and go back to the boss conversation that says, and I'll make sure I bring these things too. The ellipses part is put in to remove the non-relevance of the quote because of what you were saying to your boss was interrupted by something that you didn't say to your boss because you were talking to your kids or something, or telling them to shut up or be quiet. The ellipses is put in because, well, you're not saying that to your boss. And, or it's enough time to, you're doing a statement, you knock a pencil cup over, and you pick up your pencil cup, and then you start saying what you were saying. And this report took something that was said at the start, and then took something else from 6 hours later, and it joined it as it was one thought using ellipses. Well, that's not how that works. and it is disingenuous, and it is false, because you are making it seem like somebody said something that they did not say, just because you wanted to group together a bunch of things and make it look like that's how it was done. And that is the problem with these reports. They're not based on facts. It is just opinion analysis. And it isn't good. It is not good. He is not a credible source. Now, we are going to move more into this. Now, this is going to be my report on Bot Sentinel. And so it has my name at Mama Tutu Howries. My score is 77%, which is very high, and I am considered problematic. And we will go through and show you why Bot Sentinel thinks that I'm problematic. And let me know if you think that what I am doing through these things that are listed in this report, if that is a problematic person. Maybe I am. I don't think I am. I kind of speak the truth and maybe speak my mind, but I don't think that I'm a problem. And here's some of this data that, them analyzing your profile shows my status is active. It shows the date that I joined, which was July 10th, 2009, which I did join back then. I don't even remember why. But I really didn't start using it much until these past couple of months, because a bunch of people that I follow and do things, they put a lot of updates and information on Twitter, and so I kind of had to go over there so that I would get the notifications and stuff. Alright, so it says I am following 467 people, and I have 134 followers, which, yes, I know, that is not much. If you would like to go follow me over there, that would be great. If not, oh well. I am not there for my follow. I'm not there necessarily for that. It is a great way to spread information and get more information out there. And maybe as I grow, that will grow too. But right now, I am nobody. It says that I have done 4,303 tweets. I have 3,622 likes, which isn't that bad for the amount of tweets. And I have like barely any followers. So I think that's a pretty good ratio. It's not bad. It's not like I've done 10,000 tweets and I have like 1,000 likes. So it's almost at least one like per tweet. And then it has that my profile was updated, and I pulled this report on September 18th. And so basically it's saying that the last time I tweeted when I pulled this report, I had posted on that day. If I pulled my report today, it would say September 21st or 22nd. And then it says that Bot Sentinel updated my score September 15th, 2015. Now it's going to go into my score history. So you can see that my score started being evaluated July 1st of 2022, which is about the time that I kind of actually started using it. Before that, I didn't really use it. And I was already disruptive. And then we look at 12 days later, on the July 12th, I am now moved to 63%. And on July 19th, I had moved up another 3% to 66% total. And then from the 19th to several months, or a few months later, I jumped 11% in that amount of time. And now I am in the danger zone. I know, I am a horrible person. All right. The rating details. So, this is what it says about problematic. It says, accounts that are classified as problematic often engage in dangerous tweet activity that can be harmful to others. Problematic accounts can frequently target other accounts and often use malicious tactics to harass their targets. Some problematic accounts amplify disinformation and regularly violate Twitter's rules. The vast majority of inauthentic accounts and toxic trolls receive a problematic rating, and we strongly recommend you avoid interacting with problematic accounts. So, according to Bot Sentinel, I am malicious. I target harassment, and I spread disinformation, and I violate Twitter's terms of service. And you should just avoid me at all cost. And we're going to get to some of my problematic and harassment of others examples here that they base their things on. Now, it goes into these three different sections: phrases, hashtags, and URLs, which are websites and things like that. Links. So, disclaimer, the two-word phrases, hashtags, and URLs displayed in this profile are topics that are commonly tweeted by this account. The purpose of displaying these topics is to give users a brief overview of the account, and they are not intended to be used to gauge the legitimacy of an account. Note these topics are not a component of the classification process, and they are not used to determine the rating of an account. Well, if they are not used for those purposes, why do you need them here? Like, I can get the beginning part of that. How many tweets I've done, likes and followers, and last tweet update, the day I started my account. Like, those are very simple, like, whatever. This is the part where they're going in and sharing information and like really, really digging into things. almost like stalkerish, kind of. And so you want to label me as problematic. And so, yes, these things are going to give you an overview, which is why we're going to go over them so that you can see what the overall thing is with my account, which should show if this is what my account looks like, and these are the common things of my account. This should give some insider to why I'm such a problematic person on Twitter. All right, so first up is going to be phrases. And some of these I don't even know if I have actually used these on Twitter. And if I did, maybe a long time ago. So, and we'll go through each individual thing. So first up, we have got clue crossword, crossword play. Oh, those are very problematic things. Like, do not associate with people that do the crosswords. And this is one of the things, I think I got some extra like points or something in my crossword thing, because I like to do something that is stimulating the brain, whether it's Sudoku or Crossroads or just like puzzle things, so that my mind is stimulated every day and it's not just random game playing. And you would get something if you would like go and like or share on there. And so sometimes I would just do it to Twitter since I didn't really use it, so that I wouldn't annoy my Facebook people. So it was just kind of my way of putting that stuff over there. Now, other phrases that I use are Amber Heard. Now, as I said, I kind of came back into the Twitter universe during the Depp v. Heard trial. I am one that does not, after watching the trial and looking at evidence and everything, I do not believe Amber whatsoever. Now, I don't think Johnny's like a perfect person. I'm not even a Johnny fan. There's a couple of his things that I like, but some of his stuff is just not me. I haven't watched Pirates of the Caribbean. I've seen like little snippets if like somebody has it on in the house, but I have not actually sat down and watched an entire. I don't even think I've watched 30 minutes of it in one sitting. So it's not because, oh, I love Johnny Depp and all this stuff. No. I think he had some issues as far as with drinking and alcohol, but I do not think that he abused Amber in any form. Other than maybe they said some like horrible things to one another. But the heinous accusations that she was making that he did, I can't after seeing the evidence. And if any of you have seen my videos on any of the Depp v. Heard stuff, you probably have figured that out. But I lay it all out. I will link that to where if you want to go view those videos, you can, and make your own opinion. If it matches mine, great. If not, then okay. That is fine too. Apparently, I also use original content, which, yeah, I would say when I make my YouTube videos, that's original content. Now, this one is the one that I am kind of mad about, because it says Riley Howery. Now, I may have shared something via social media, and maybe I put it to Twitter as well, or maybe it's a post from like back in 2009 or something, and I mentioned this. Well, the problem with this is that it is my son, and so I don't see what my son, who is a minor, at least for a little bit longer, has to do with me and a problematic account, and why that needs to be associated with this report. And I don't think that this name is something that I use commonly, because that is not what my page is about, and I keep a lot of my real life out of my Twitter. Most of the stuff that I put on Twitter, I do not put on my other social media platforms. Now, I will share it with some of them if somebody like says something and maybe they follow that type of stuff. But I just don't bombard the real people in my life with some of these things. All right, so social media, yeah. Free speech, definitely believe in free speech. Everybody should. Even if you do not like what people say, they have the right to say it, as long as they are not accusing you of crimes, and things like that. You have the right to your opinion. You don't have to agree with my opinion. I don't have to agree with yours. There's people that every day I don't necessarily 100% agree with their stance on things, but they have a right to say it. And I can choose to ignore or not follow them if I don't like that type of stuff, or I can speak my opinion about it. That is the wonderful thing about the First Amendment and free speech, and what this country is built on. And things like Bot Sentinel want to silence free speech. Mainstream media, silence. They want to spin their narrative. Nobody talk about any other narrative. If you do not play by these rules, then they will come after you, or they'll try to silence you. You can't lie. Lying, saying things with actual malice, not protected by free speech. Truth is protected. Your opinions are protected. It says AH team, which, yes, that is something I say. Double standard. I believe in some areas there is a double standard. I did talk about unsealed documents and things. I did tell people to watch the trial if they hadn't. I have brought up Monty Python. I actually have a clip of Monty Python, which I got copyrighted on for using the small clip, but it was to show where certain things happened. Hard work. I don't remember where I used that, but okay. Kate Moss, that was a big, huge testimony thing, and in regards to the staircase incident. JD supporters, BC AH, which means because AH, appellate court, because the appeals are going on. Let's go back to this. Okay, sorry, I don't know what that was about. Okay, middle school, maybe. I mean, my daughter was in middle school last year. So I don't know. And then AH stands, which, yes, I have addressed Amber Heard stands. I don't necessarily think that I am harassing them. Now, I might say that I don't know what this person is talking about. What they are saying is delusional. They need to watch the trial. According to the unsealed documents, evidence, things like that. Or this is, I don't know why you're saying this, because AH did such and such, and things like that. So, and some of these I have used, but I don't think that makes me problematic, because I have talked about things. Like, I am not out there just targeting people. There's a lot of people that I choose to ignore, and I have thought about making things on them, or just different Twitters or tweets and things like that, and debunking that, and just being like, I don't know what you're even talking about, because it's not true. And sometimes maybe I'll say something short, maybe as a reply to something, or I'll reply to somebody that has commented on some post. Sometimes I quote tweet and say my own opinion on certain things, but I definitely don't do it just targeting one person. It's kind of whatever gets thrown. And I don't, because, good Lord, I don't know what else I would have time for if I was out there trying to fight with everybody. All right, so that is my phrases broken down. Now we're going to go into my hashtags. Now, I have used some hashtags that aren't necessarily nice, but the thing with Twitter and social media, TikTok and everything, and I'm sure you've seen plenty of TikTok videos that use a current hashtag that actually has nothing to do with their video. Like, if there is, let's say there's a Lego challenge, and it's like really popular, everybody's doing it, but you're just doing a TikTok dance to a Lizzo song or something. I've seen a lot of people who will just put in their hashtag, Lego challenge, even though this video has nothing to do with it. The purpose of hashtags is so that your content shows up under these things that people look for. If you want to see how a hashtag started, or what everybody's saying about some trending hashtag, and you want to view videos or tweets and things like that that use that hashtag to get more information, then you can search that and it'll bring up, everything that's used that hashtag if you wanted to. So here are some of the ones apparently I have used. One clue crossword. I'm guessing that just automatically did it when I shared something. Debt versus herd. Definitely have used that in pretty much anything I've posted with um, the debt v. herd. Justice for Johnny Depp. I have posted that on things. Amber Heard is a liar. Yep. I have used that one. That's my opinion. I mean, am I like targeting harassment and reaching out to her and saying things? Like I am. And there are people that are doing malicious things. Just like there are Amber people that are doing malicious things to Depp or anybody that supports him, and I don't condone any of that. Do not go and personally attack these people. Do not threaten their family, their life, anything. Do not threaten their jobs. Nothing like that. Do not bring your online stuff into reality unless it is actually something criminal that affected you. Just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean that you need to go Google review them or send them hateful messages that say things or saying messages about their daughter and things like that. No, do not do those things. Now, if you think that somebody's a liar and you want to say that, okay, that's your opinion. You get to have it. You know, Depp stands think that Johnny is a liar or that anybody that supports him is a liar. They are opinions. And you get to choose which side you want to be on. Some are just have more facts to back up their side. But, you know, there's conspiracy theories and the earth is flat and the earth is round. There's a lot of evidence that shows that the earth is not flat, but there are a lot of people out there that believe it still. Or religion and evolution. You get to choose your side and what you believe and who you believe, and you have your reasons for believing it. That's your right. Moves on to Depp Heard trial, Depp versus Heard trial. Again, Amber is a liar. TikTok. Johnny Depp is a survivor. Amber is a liar. Depp v. Heard. Elaine Bredehoff. Hashtag do better. Hashtag Amber Heard is a psychopath. That one, I can see that one being a problematic one. I think she's a bit crazy, though. I don't understand some of the things. But, okay, you can ding me on that one. Fine. Justice served for Johnny Depp. How is that problematic? Because he won in the defamation case. Depp v. Heard. Abuse has no gender. Because it doesn't. Amber Heard is an abuser. Now, this is one that it is funny because of Poopgate, but also I want the ones who use Amber Heard as an abuser or Amber Heard is a psychopath and all these other ones, I put them in there because I want the people that are following that type of stuff and those hashtags or search those things, especially if it's trending. I want that group of people, whether they agree with my hashtag or they don't, to see what I'm saying. That is the way to get that out there to more people. Redbox sweepstakes, I guess I've used that some as well. That probably was a long time ago because I have not done anything with Redbox in a while. Um, mm, sorry, and Colby Ryan, which is Lori Vallow's son. We did 2 videos on that. Um, and yeah, I hashtagged that name on it so that anybody that was looking up information on Colby Ryan, that my stuff would show up if they wanted to view it. It's the name of social media. And so, yeah, there's a few on here that might be problematic. But a lot of them, no, they're not problematic, in my opinion. Let me know if you think they are. Moving on to the URLs. And there are 20. And so I have them kind of numbered here. And then I'm going to show you what these different links, because you can, if you're on that report, you can click visit and it'll take you to every single one of them. And so I'm going to show you what these URLs that I've linked, which are an idea of what my profile on Twitter and how it is looks like. And so these things should all make me look like I'm a problematic person, even though they're not a part of the analysis that gave me my problematic scoring. All right, so I kind of have 1 through 10 here. Moving here, I have 11 through 20. Now let's look at what they are. So the first one is this 1-clue crossword, which, I mean, I am sorry, guys. I know this is a huge problematic thing, and I should probably get help with this problematic thing that I engage in, and I am so sorry about crosswords. I know they are just a big problem in people's lives. Then we have, and the numbers go with the number that I had them outlined in, and I don't have these all in like numeric order and stuff, but so also I had looked at harassment and cyberbullying policies, and an update to our harassment policy for YouTube, because when I was looking at some information in Bot Sentinel's report that he had recently put out, I wanted to see if what he had put in the report about the harassment and cyberbullying, if a particular thing was actually a part of that, or if he just used an example out of thin air. And so I did share it, and so, and I did find actually that the example that he used by saying that somebody looked like a dog, an ugly dog or something, is considered harassment or cyberbullying. It's an example that YouTube does use in their policy. Now, should we be allowed to say somebody is ugly or maybe they look like a dog? Is it very nice? No. Is it targeting them? Not unless you go and say it and send them the message. Like if you're just saying it out into the universe and there's a possibility that person's not going to see it, then no. I mean, And we all have different standards on looks and things. But, you don't want to be torn down by your looks. It's not nice. It's it's just an easy thing to say. Um, but I mean, people do it. People have done it since they were in kindergarten, um, and things like that. Um, you should strive not to do those things. But I just wanted to see if the example that Bot Sentinel had used in this particular report that he was claiming is in the terms of service, if they were actually there. And that particular part that he extracted from the terms of service was actually in their terms of service. And I did that and by looking at these two things. I researched. I wasn't taking anybody's word. And then when I found out that this was something that was correct, I shared it and said, you know what? Because people were like, does it really say this about a dog? And so once I had found out that yes, it actually does, I shared it with the person to say, hey, I looked at this and this is actually an example that YouTube does give. I don't see how that's problematic. I'm just reporting the truth. All right. And so another one of them was this Instagram post. Again, I I think I did share this to my Twitter because I thought it was important about the iPhone users and that they can track and extract your data and make sure that you turn your location off and share that with people because it goes with the protecting yourself. Um, and people not just getting a hold of information that is just not safe for other people to get a hold of. Because most of the time, yeah, you might be fine, but once again, if it gets into the wrong hands, it can be very dangerous. So I don't think that sharing something that maybe you want to look at to keep you safe is a problem. Then it lists three of the links list my shorts that I have done on YouTube, which are about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp's handwriting comparisons. It's a video that I don't say anything in. It has some music, and then it has a bunch of pictures, and it says, this is Amber's handwriting. This is Johnny's handwriting. This is the writing on the mirror. This is the therapist notes writing. Is there any similarities? Can you figure out who wrote what in the claims? Does it debunk some of the things that someone is saying? Oh, I didn't write that. But some things look quite similar. So it's some pictures to some music of looking at things for you to look at and analyze and make your own conclusion. Maybe you don't think that the similarities are anything, but it's just putting together a thing so you can look at it. Now Amber Heard's hair proves she lied about it, the December 2015 incident. And this video goes through and it shows her hair color. And me questioning, still don't say words in it. I have some text and stuff on it, but how do you have these different colored hair And these groups of pictures, if they're all from the same day, like, make it make sense. That's what that one's about. But it's a visual for you to look at. To say, look at her hair color here. Look at her hair color here. Oh, look, this hair color matches that. This one doesn't. It's a visual, so you can see it all in one place. The history of Amber Heard's busted lip. This goes back, and it shows Amber Heard's lips throughout the years. Before Depp, with Depp, and after Depp. So that you can see certain things and, again, come to your own conclusion. I just put it all in one place so that you can look at it all. I don't think I do anything problematic there. And yes, I do share those on Twitter. Most of those things I don't share on my Facebook. I don't share them on my TikTok. I don't share them on my Instagram. I just don't. If somebody wants to see them on those, I will give it to them and they can subscribe and all that. But I'm not going to send that stuff to some of those other places. Then it has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 YouTube videos that I have done along with my shorts. It's got the 2 Colby Ryan ones, which is where the hashtag Colby Ryan comes from. It's got the first video I kind of did on everything, which is the staircase incident. It's got part 3 of debunking UK's factual findings, and those videos show what the UK said and what the evidence is that goes against that. And some of it actually doesn't go against it. Most of it does. But it's there for you to look at. And yes, I will say my opinion in some of these things, but it's just there for you to look at and you can decide. And Isaac Bruce witness statement, because he had a lot to say and it was just going to extend the length of one of the YouTube videos. And so I just decided to do a separate video on it. And I share them. Most people with YouTube do share their content. Does not mean that it's harassment or a problem. I'm just covering things in the news. All right, and here we have these. There is a tweet that I probably retweeted about the deposition being just under 3 months of the phone being thrown, and the way she was acting seemed weird. But this deposition are in, some of them clips of it came up in the trial. But if you want to watch the full deposition of this particular deposition, definitely go to Incredibly Averages and check them out over there. It's pretty eye-opening to see. Then we have the Grifties. This one was twice, which I have been on there twice. Well, I've been there multiple times. I'm going there every day, sometimes every hour. Vote Nick Rekieta. He's in 3rd right now. He was at number 1, but he has dropped. So Nick Rekieta, and so I go and I vote for this. Like, it's just making fun of people who grift. And the person that I am voting for actually wants this title of the Grift King. because why not? He gets accused of being the grift king, so why not just do it? All right, and then we have this Rumble, and this one is LawTube reacts to Dr. Spiegel's cross-examination, day 20, part 1, and its compilation. Joe Smithy, or Smith, has done incredible on these things. And if you watch any of the lawyers that followed this trial, which a lot of them are known as LawTube, and it was like a bunch of different streams going, like 6 different streams. And he has compiled them into this one video where it looks like they're actually all watching it together on one stream. And the reactions of while this person is testifying on cross or direct. And it's really cool, and it took a lot of work. And some of them have the same reactions, and it's just funny, but it is a lot of work. But I definitely recommend you go watching them, because it is the amount of work that put in to get all these clips from each of these different, like, 6 streams, and clipping them all together to where it looks like everybody's watching this on one stream is insane. And I can't imagine how much work it is. So yeah, I do watch that, but I don't know. Maybe that makes me problematic that I react to it. And I think that they're funny to see all the reactions. Now, this one I could see as problematic, but I included, because all included on this particular one, when it clicked the link, was this. And so I went in and I found my quote tweet that went with this, because I find this person to be problematic. It says, Ms. Fetterman says that he opposes voter ID laws because the poor and people of color are less likely to have their ID at any given time. And it's very offensive. For some reason, he does not think that poor people or people of color have IDs. And most people do have IDs. I don't think it has anything to do with your color or your finances. To vote, you have to have it. To drive, you have to have one. For insurances and credit cards and medical, you have to have it. For banking, you have to have it. For a job, you have to have it. You have to have a form of state identification. And even if you don't drive, it's like less than $10 to get an ID. And if for some reason anybody that sees this doesn't have the money to get their ID, let me know, and I will send you the money for an ID. But I do not think, and if you have seen this video, and then there's somebody else that posted another video about somebody going out there, and they interviewed a bunch of white people first that said, what do you think about the laws of voter ID? And some of them were like, oh, I don't think it's right. And And they say the same because this is the narrative that is pushed in mainstream media. This is what they want you to think, that poor people and people of color won't get to vote because they just don't have a way to get their IDs as easily as somebody that is middle class or rich or white. And then the person goes and asks people of color, do you have an ID? Do you know how to use the ID or how to obtain one? Do most of the people you know? Do you have internet? Do you know how to use internet or a phone? Like, the things are just very offensive. I will find a link to that video of the guy interviewing the people on the streets in response to this because I think it's good. And I'm pretty sure the people of color in this, having this white person come up and ask them, do you think that poor people can't get IDs? Or that y'all can't even find your way to the DMV? And they are like probably sitting there like, excuse me, what did you just say? Um, but it was very interesting. So my quote tweet about this thing says, this one has offended people of color and the poor. His nonsense is ridiculous. Poor people have IDs. Heck, even homeless people do. You can't do anything really without one. Welfare, for instance, for poor, you need an ID. Yes, to get welfare checks. Whether it's TANF or food stamps or whatever. WIC, you have to have an ID. So, no. And then I used a hashtag that says Fetterman Lies. So I wanted this because I did not want this to be not having the context of why I would even have this link to my account. And this is the reason, because I quote tweeted this guy's video because it is just ridiculous. And if you want to be angry, you can go watch that video because you will be angry after you watch it. Of my problematic URLs, a story about a Nebraska man who set a new world record after floating nearly 40 miles down the Missouri River in an 846-pound pumpkin. A man piloted a hollowed-out pumpkin on a 38-mile journey down the Missouri River. Yes, I thought it was kind of funny. I was like, what? Yeah, the title and the headline. Who wouldn't want to find out about this person who did this? Why did he do that? It's not an everyday thing. It was interesting. Nobody else is interested in that? Because I think it's funny. And great. Go set new world records. We should have ridiculous world records. Because you can get a world record for anything. And then we have a tweet from Eric Hunley. He also has Laid Back News. This is in regards to a video that Nate the lawyer and Eric did. Now, Nate the lawyer is the one that is filing a lawsuit against some defamation with Bot Sentinel and Christopher Bouzy about him. And he also reported him for to have maybe his bankruptcy be investigated a little bit, because some things look fishy. He didn't accuse him of it. He just said, hey, y'all might want to look at this, because to me this looks weird. But they're apparently their channel on one of their videos ended up getting a warning, which will be a strike next, and it's saying it's another example of capricious YouTube behavior. I may have liked this post, I may have shared it, I may have commented, I don't remember. I just remember them talking about it. And then last but not least, the real Laura B. And this was a tweet that she had made that just shows Johnny and a clip of him at the Video Music Awards, and he's in his astronaut, and he is there through like CGI and stuff, and he jokes about needing the work and that he's available for hire for bar mitzvahs and birthdays and all these things. It's just seeing him doing something and so much support being shown was nice to see after the last 6 years. So I definitely liked this one. I probably commented on it as well. But those are so all of that is my Bot Sentinel analysis that's in my report. It's got my phrases, it's got my hashtags, it's got my URLs, it's got the information about my Twitter account, and some of the stuff I didn't necessarily want connected. Some of them don't have anything to do with the other. Some of them don't seem like problematic things to me. But in Bot Sentinel's eyes, if you discuss Amber Heard, or you discuss, and like if you discuss Amber Heard and you're against her, as far as you don't believe her, or Meghan Markle, that's another one. Now, anybody that has to do with like Nate the lawyer and LawTube and things like that, you are deemed problematic. Plain and simple. You don't even have to have interacted with this person, and he blocks you. Now, I did call him out on his last report because it was a lie. And I hated that this guy is out here making money off some false information that he did not obtain legally. And I got blocked because I just responded to a post. But let me know what you think. Do you think I am a huge problem? Everybody should just avoid me because I am just very toxic online? Or is this nothing really? Maybe you've seen a lot worse, because I know I have seen a lot worse. And some of the really bad ones are actually rated normal. And you're like, what? It makes no sense. Because there is no logic or rhyme or reason behind these analyses. But let's now dive into Bot Sentinel, the company itself. So, Bot Sentinel, these are frequently asked questions. I will be leaving the link to this part. There will be a lot of different links to all of the information and the resources that I used to gather up all of this information to put into this video so that you can go look for yourself and not just take my word for it. So let's jump right into what is Bot Sentinel and what do they do? All right, as of Wednesday, August 17th, 2022 at 3:21 p.m., this introduction was modified and updated. And it says that we trained our social media account classifier to identify nefarious automated bots, targeted harassment and abuse, mis and disinformation, toxic discourse, and other problematic social media activities. We use millions of samples to train our classification model, and we update our model weekly to remain accurate and relevant. Our technology can be used to analyze text-based content, and you can use it with any text-based social media platform. Since conversations are similar across different social media platforms, the accuracy of our classification model remains consistent. Our classifier employs a straightforward scoring system from 0 to 100. The higher score, the more likely the social media account is engaging in problematic activities, such as myself. Now, it's funny that they say it is a straightforward scoring system. And while it seems like it's just simple, it doesn't give us what data is looked at and how it's looked at to determine if somebody's social media account falls under the normal, satisfactory, disruptive, or problematic category. What are the things that you use to determine it? Because if it's a one-clue crossword puzzle, that's kind of a problem. Warning people about protecting their privacy doesn't seem like that would land you there. So it's not as straightforward. It may be like a simple thing that you want to just put something simple out, but it's not straightforward in telling you why the scoring system is like this and what goes into the scoring system. What does it take to decrease your score to get to a normal level? None of these things are outlined. So if you were 0 to 24%, you're normal. Congratulations. If you are between 25% and 49%, you are satisfactory. If you are 50% to 74%, you are disruptive. And 75% to 100%, you are problematic. Now, I do not know what 100% problematic is. I would be interested to see what account that is. And I think there's been one account that I've seen that's like 0 and is like perfect. But it's just like all over the place. And you can actually be somebody that like starts Twitter wars, that says horrible things, that doxes people, that makes threats to people. But if you are not somebody that uses Meghan Markle or Amber Heard in any of your stuff, you're going to be considered normal, not problematic. Such as Andrew Tate, very controversial. He's a bit problematic in some of the things he says. But I doubt that his Bot Sentinel rating would actually be very high because he does not talk about the two main categories that Bot Sentinel likes to base these things on. Bot Sentinel. This is modified Sunday, May 10th, 2020. Bot Sentinel is a free, nonpartisan platform developed to classify and track. Remember, you're not supposed to be tracking according to Twitter. Inauthentic accounts and toxic trolls. That's such a very mature word to use. Trolls. No. The platform uses machine learning and artificial intelligence to classify Twitter accounts and then adds the accounts to a publicly available database that anyone can browse. Once again, it is not supposed to be publicly available for everyone. That breaks the rules. So he admits right there. Next one is, why is your company named Bot Sentinel if you classify more than bots? And this is modified on May 15th of 2020. The name Bot Sentinel means autonomous guard. In other words, we are using a good bot to help identify and guard against inauthentic accounts and toxic trolls. A good bot. We'll get to see in a minute if certain parts of this are something that you think a good bot would do. Or would Glinda, the Good Witch in The Wizard of Oz, do these things? Or does it sound like the Wicked Witch of the West? Or a bad bot that would do these things? You will get to make your own conclusion about that. Our accounts rated, updated Tuesday, May 19th, 2020. We rate accounts based on a scoring system from 0 to 100. The higher the score, the more likely the account is engaging in nefarious activities. We analyze several hundred tweets per account, and the more someone engages in behavior that is violating Twitter rules, the higher their Bot Sentinel rating is. You are not supposed to be analyzing 100 tweets per account. and updating it. And yes, you say, here's your scoring system. Well, isn't that most scoring systems? I know that's your scoring system in school. You could make 100 on your test, which means you did really, really well. Or if you don't do your test or do your homework, you get a 0. If you only do half of it or you only get half of it right, you get a 50. That doesn't tell us how the things are graded. Like, at least on our tests, our scoring system, we know, okay, if there is 10 questions, they're worth 10 points apiece, which doesn't give you very much to work with, because if you get like 3 to 4 wrong, you're going to fail. Whereas if you have 100 questions or 50 questions, and you might get 10 of them wrong, or maybe you get 4 of them wrong, it's not going to affect your score. But it shows you how everything is broken down for us to come to that percentage. We don't get that with this. And hundreds of tweets per account. Does that reach the maximum or over the maximum that Twitter said that they allowed per account per day, or just period per day with all accounts? Sounds like that might be skirting the line if it doesn't cross fully. Next question is, does Bot Sentinel misclassify accounts? Yes, thank God they said that. I think as far as liability, they have to. They cannot guarantee these are 100% accurate, because that definitely opens the company up. They can say, yeah, there can be mistakes. So is my account a mistake? Am I not? Maybe I'm not 77% problematic. I mean, it is just a machine learning model. But it goes on to say, yes, no machine learning model and algorithm is 100% accurate. Periodically, Bot Sentinel will give false positives and false negatives, especially with non-English accounts. We train Bot Sentinel's classification model using English tweets, and non-English accounts have a higher rate of false positives. Okay, so apparently Bot Sentinel's bot does not speak foreign languages. And yeah, every thing can have false positives and false negatives. Drug tests, pregnancy tests, there's false positives and false negatives all the time. So it says, we trained Bot Sentinel's classification model using English tweets, and non-English tweets have a higher rate of false positives. However, the classification model is continually being retrained to improve its accuracy and reliability, and the platform is gradually improving with non-English accounts. So the bot is still enrolled in foreign language classes. It is not fluent yet, so it needs to continue to go to its class and learn what the different languages are. Let's go to the next question. I am a human being, so why am I rated disruptive or problematic? Bot Sentinel doesn't just classify bots. We developed Bot Sentinel to classify several types of accounts, including accounts operated by human beings. Which, well, it says it hasn't been modified since May of 2020. So that's interesting. Because there was a lot of stuff that was being said during the Det v. Heard trial about, oh, it's just bots. And it's just bots. Johnny's team bought bots. And of course, Johnny's supporters have said Amber has bought bots. And Bot Sentinel has been associated with Amber. So, and there's actually been reports and things that were discovered that came out in evidence, I believe in the unsealed documents, of the fact that there was reports of bots being used to make things look better, that more people than actual were supporting Amber in her stuff. Okay, how can I remove my Twitter handle from your website? Now, a part of that EU privacy protection, one of the criteria that needs to be met is that you have to give people the option to be erased from your platform, to opt out, not to allow you to use that. Unsubscribe. You have to have a way for the people that you have to not allow you to use that information. But here's what they say. Bot Sentinel lists Twitter handles automatically when they are analyzed with our technology. We only use public information and we do not display private information on our website. We do not remove Twitter handles, nor do we alter scores on behalf of the Twitter handle owners. Please do not contact us to remove your Twitter handle or alter your score. So I cannot call Bot Sentinel and tell them, take my Twitter handle and my report that you have made public off your website. I don't want this stuff on there. I can't say that. I also can't call them up and be like, can you please, like, what if I give you like $100? Can you like move my rating into like the normal or at least satisfactory? You can't do that either. Which, no, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. You should not be able to alter scores. If if the analysis is legitimate, you should not be able to go in there and alter anything. But you should be able to not be associated with it. Why is my account rated disruptive? Accounts that are classified as disrupted often engage in malicious tweet activity. Some disruptive accounts harass other accounts and use offensive language. Disruptive accounts periodically share misinformation and can frequently spam. Hashtag inauthentic accounts and toxic trolls regularly receive disruptive ratings, so that we recommend you exhibit caution when interacting with disruptive accounts. It says the same thing for problematic accounts. Let's look at Bot Sentinel's privacy policy. Privacy policy modified on Wednesday, May 27th, 2020. So that's when it was last updated. Bot Sentinel Incorporated is a cybersecurity company focused on fighting disinformation and targeted harassment on social media platforms. Our product and services include our web app, browser extension, Twitter app, and mobile apps that link to this privacy policy, provide users with a tool to protect them against inauthentic activity and targeted harassment on social media platforms. When you use our product and service, you'll share some information with us. The privacy policy explains how we collect, use, disclose, and safeguard your information when you use our web app, browser extension, Twitter app, and mobile apps. You should read our entire privacy policy, and if you do not agree with the terms of this privacy policy, please don't use our products and services. Well, I don't want to use your products and services. I don't want them. I don't need them. They make no sense. But, I can't contact you about that. Now, it says information we collect. There are 3 basic categories of information we collect. Information that you provide, information we get when you use our product services, and information we get from third parties. Yes, but do you have permission to use those things from the user? No, you do not. I don't even know that you have Twitter's permission. Maybe you do. Twitter might have to be answering some of these questions about Bot Sentinel. We need your help making social media safer. In 2018, we launched Bot Sentinel to help people identify inauthentic accounts and toxic trolls. He really likes to use that. Since then, the platform has evolved and we have added additional tools, including browser extensions, mobile apps to help mitigate the spread of disinformation and targeted attacks. We are just getting started, and soon we will launch the Bot Sentinel Developers Platform, which will give developers access to our powerful APIs. We are also planning to expand our technology to support Reddit and other social media platforms. Oh dear Lord. Reddit is another level. Probably should stay anonymous on Reddit. But it can be fun for some good laughs and some snark. But no, none of these platforms need to use Bot Sentinel. And no company out there needs to use their APIs. It's just not going to be good. If you want to help us continue our mission of making social media platforms a safer place, then please consider donating today. Payment methods: DonorBox accepts all major credit cards, PayPal, and bank transfers. DonorBox also accepts Apple Pay and Google Pay if you are making a donation on your mobile device. Sounds like grifting to me, but apparently that's a bad thing. And here is the donation part. You can do a one-time donation, or you can do a monthly donation and pick which one. And you can leave a comment with it. All right. feature requires Twitter authorization to use. Please use the Twitter sign-in button at the bottom of this page. I did not want to sign in to do that. If somebody wants to, then great. Maybe you share that information. I am not putting my information to sign up for any of this. And you can also sign up for a newsletter if you want to. I don't want any newsletters about anything in regards to him or this company. Our free and advanced tools require you to allow Bot Sentinel access to specific account features. Bot Sentinel requires this access to perform certain tasks on your behalf. For example, Bot Sentinel cannot block accounts or hide replies without you granting the app access. Bot Sentinel also cannot search tweets on your behalf without proper access. Unfortunately, Twitter doesn't allow developers to select specific permissions, so we will describe what we do and what we don't do. We do read your tweets and the tweets of accounts you want to analyze. We do see your Twitter profile information, but we don't read your account settings. Maybe you should, at least that permission one. I don't know. We do see accounts you follow, mute, or block. How is that any of your business? I don't even know if I can go in right now and just see it. I'm sure I can. It might take me just a second to figure it out, but I've never just gone in and done it. But why is it anybody's business who I have blocked? Unless I want to give that information out. We don't follow or unfollow accounts for you. We don't update your profile or account settings. We don't post and delete tweets for you, and we don't engage with tweets posted by others, unlike reply to a tweet, a retweet, etc. for you. We don't create, manage, or delete lists and collections for you. We do mute, block, and report accounts for you. We don't see or read your passwords or any sensitive information. Note, you can revoke access to the app anytime you would like. So this is a company that wants to hire Bot Sentinel to do these things or use their program. That's what this is for. And this is saying what they will do if you use them and what they won't do if you use them. I suggest nobody uses them. And it's great that they can revoke access, but us and our individual Twitter handles and accounts, we cannot revoke his access to our accounts. Seems kind of weird. We understand trust and security are important, and if you don't feel comfortable granting access to the app using the primary Twitter account, we suggest creating a new Twitter account to test out our advanced tools. So now just make more Twitter accounts. Have a backup. I mean, I guess you can do that. I don't know that you should encourage that, though. And here we can see the free tools, the auto blocker, the bulk blocker, the hide replies, and the bulk analyzer, and the trackers, hate trackers, Harry and Meghan, Amber Heard. These are the two categories that if you say anything negative about these things, you will be deemed problematic. Other things that are problematic in society those are not going to necessarily track the hate. And these are the groups that I was talking about, individual groups. I don't think this is allowed. So, that is our review of Bot Sentinel and kind of with Twitter, showing and breaking down the different things through my analysis report from Bot Sentinel. And the more information that we get and we learn, I will definitely be sharing it with you guys. Definitely go follow Nate the lawyer out there. If you want to follow along with this lawsuit for defamation. And if you like these types of videos or want to check out any of my other videos, please do hit that subscribe, turn the notification bell on, like this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.